So the Jaden Ivey situation at this stage is getting pretty rough. I have to admit, it's getting pretty rough and it's getting worse. Every day we see or hear something that has gotten worse than the day before with the entirety of the Jaden Ivey situation. And the thing is with this is that I don't know when, I don't know if it's going to get better, and you just kind of hope. You just kind of hope it gets better. And this is, by the way, this has zero, and I mean this, zero to do with Jaden Ivey's religion. It has zero to do with that. At the end of the day, a non-insignificant percentage of people that are or players in the league are fairly religious. Heck, it's not even about him if he walks away from the league because of it. Heck, no one has a problem with AJ Griffin because he seemed with it. AJ Griffin seemed fully with it. However, now we're at the stage that we've got to talk about it when it comes to Jaden Ivey, because if you've seen some of the stuff, he was asking reporters if they fornicated before marriage. He was constantly preaching around his teammates. He was constantly telling his teammates who he believed were righteous and who weren't righteous. He went on a rant into a speaker live stream on a plane about how Stephen Curry wasn't righteous. It's not. Is it at this stage? It's getting scary. And obviously, you see this, you can just read it here. He was seconds away from, ending it all. And that's scary. And he's clearly, religion or not, suffering from something. And it's not good. It's not good at all. You can't, you cannot, just let somebody spiral. This is Kanye type stuff. And it maybe even more extreme Kanye. And now he's been, there are people defending him, being like, we defend Jaden Ivey. We support Jaden Ivey. It's man, the man's losing his mind. The man is losing his mind. And he's basically being well, they wouldn't have got rid of Anthony Edwards for doing what he did. They actually probably would. And not only that, it's come out today that on the 25th of March, this was last week, and this is where this all kind of started from. He had suffered a season-ending injury, and he went to the Chicago Bulls head of player performance, said that God healed his knee, and that he was ready to come back and play. They sent him for an MRI and shut him down for the season. He was that badly hurt. He's clearly just not. He's just not in the right place to play basketball. And it's at this stage, you just don't know what's going on. You don't know what is what's happening, and you just hope that in a couple of, or whether it be in a few months or a few years, he just gets a little bit he's just back to himself. And you know what? If this is what Jaden Ivey is, okay, who Jaden Ivey is going to be for the rest of his life, okay, cool. I don't think he'll be playing in the NBA again. That's for sure. I can say that. But there's no issue with being religious and playing pro basketball. There's no issue with being religious and being in the NBA. There's no issue with any of that. It's when it becomes negatively affecting the team, which clearly the Bulls deemed even long before. And I don't think people realize where it's the Chicago Bulls basically were just looking for an excuse. They were just looking for an excuse to get rid of Jaden Ivey. And this was the excuse they had. This was the first time it's been okay, yeah, you know what? We can get rid of him. This has gone too far. They traded for him, and they basically were looking for any excuse, and they used the IG Live as an excuse. clearly they were on the fence anyway. And then Shams didn't help. This tweet from Shams saying that this is why they waived him has basically turned him into some martyr. It's turned a guy who is almost certainly going through an episode into a martyr. And again, none of this has anything to do with religion. The guy is just slowly losing his mind. Like, he was in the middle of a 75-minute rambling. He started talking about apple pies. He was rambling and just randomly started going, I like apple pies are tasty. I think it was like something like, I'm thankful that God gave us apple pies. And he's just constantly saying people are and aren't righteous. And obviously the Instagram responses talking about, Catholicism isn't a real religion and fucking, I'll read some of them here. God does not hear prayers if you are a sinner. Catholicism is a false religion. You can't, you don't judge righteously because you are not righteous. You clearly have a speck in your eye, so you can get a speck out of someone else's eye. Like, and this is a response to somebody saying that, I appreciate you speaking up for God because we need more of that in our society, but also concerned that you're casting a lot of judgment on others that don't align with your interpretation of the gospel, who don't learn. And then he basically said, you don't judge because you're not righteous. Like, someone said, we still love you once you relearn to trust your body. God gave you the ability to be one of the greatest ever. The response was, are you born again? Like, it actually, like, he was asking reporters if they were righteous. Like, this guy obviously is talking about the old Jaden Ivey is dead. And it's like, it's just not ideal. It's just not an ideal situation at all. And look, again, there is absolutely the possibility that Jaden Ivey fully, like, whether it's he needs help or whether it's time will solve it, that he can just get his head right again. And heck, if he wants to be a preacher, that's his choice. If that's what he wants to do and he wants to do an AJ Griffin, that's absolutely his choice. No one had an issue with what AJ Griffin did. But it's just some of the weird shit. Like, again, asking the reporters if they fornicated before marriage, saying that his knee was completely cooked and saying that he was ready to play because God healed his knee when it was completely cooked. Like, this has absolutely nothing to do with religion. The guy is clearly suffering with something. And I don't know if he ever plays in the league again, if we're being honest. I don't think he's quite good enough to play in the league with all the extra baggage. Like, let's be real. Like, if you're going to be a nightmare, not even nightmare for a team, if you're going to annoy a team or be seen as a negative potentially, like, you have to be really fucking good to be in the league, and he's not. He's just good.